Hey everyone, Regal Views here. It is White Rice Wednesday, which means time for my Survivor recap. So to recap on tonight's episode, Dominic is telling Laurel about a dream he had, basically, about being hungry out there. And they're out there for that many days, so they're all probably starving out there. Des mentions how she was once homeless, so this is actually, the hunger doesn't necessarily bother her because she's used to being hungry because she has gone without food for how many days, so she uses that to her advantage. And Desiree wants to shake things up. She wants to try to take out Naviti while she can. She basically, wants to rally the Malolos on the bottom and kind of be on top. Again, in this scenario, the Malolos would still be on the bottom because Des would be controlling things. And Laurel is unsure what to do because she wants to make a big move, but at the same time, she trusts Dominic and Wendell over Des. So, what do you go with? Making a big move or staying with somebody you trust? The reward challenge, they had to divide into two tribes of 5, and they had to paddle in to rescue their members that were in this cage. It's actually an interesting reward challenge, and they had to use keys to unlock puzzle pieces. And the reward win was a survivor picnic, basically, with meats and cheeses. And they actually got brownies, and I wouldn't mind some brownies if I was out there. The teams were the orange team, which was Sebastian, Michael, Kellen, Jenna, and Chelsea. And the purple team was Laurel, Dominic, Donovan, Wendell, Desiree, and Angela. And Donovan was not chosen, and because he was not chosen, he doesn't get to participate in the reward, but that also means he doesn't get sent to Ghost Island, so it's like a bittersweet decision, because at one hand, you don't get to compete, you don't get to go on reward, which is sad, but then you also don't get to go to Ghost Island. It actually was a blowout, and Orange kind of reversed the curse a bit, because as we've seen, they've been the greatest tribe ever this whole season. Yeah, they finally got a win, and they won the reward challenge, and they decided to let the losing team draw rocks, and it was Angela that got sent to Ghost Island. At the reward feast, Michael's on the bottom. He knows from last week's episode that he got 7 votes against him, so he knows he needs to really work on making some new relationships and alliances to hopefully keep himself in the game. And he basically tells everyone at the feast that he's a loyal vote, and I definitely think he would be a loyal vote right now because he is on the bottom, and I feel like Michael would be willing to work with anyone just to keep himself in the game longer. And Kellen says that the tribe is strong. Basically thinks that the tribe should remain strong in getting rid of Michael, and basically go along with her plan of getting rid of Michael next. On Ghost Island, Angela cracks the urn and it actually says game on for a change, and she has to, the odds are increased, so could be 2 advantages in and 2 out of the 3, I don't know what you call it, the buckets or urns, but she has to risk her vote, and she feels like because Naviti has the numbers right now, it won't matter to her. And when she opens the 3rd one, it's actually no vote. So Angela doesn't get to vote at the next tribal council, and she's wondering if she made the right decision, because if Naviti decides to split up or something, then she might have destroyed her game. At camp, Laurel doesn't like that. She doesn't like the idea of going against Dominic and Wendell because she has been so loyal to them before this whole time, and vice versa. Dominic and Wendell have been loyal to Laurel and Donovan. And Desiree decided to stir the pot earlier, saying, basically the Malolo should stay together and they should take out Kellen, Dominic, and Wendell, them being the biggest threats out there. Because as she put it, if her and Kellen were to go to the finals, Kellen would win. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I definitely think Kellen would have an argument to win, But all Desiree has to say is that she was once homeless and she would win the sympathy vote, no doubt. They would definitely give it to her. But Laurel decides to remain loyal to Dominic and Wendell and decides to tell Dominic that Desiree wants Dominic, Wendell, and Kellen gone. So Dominic decides to tell Kellen when she comes back from the reward that Desiree and Chelsea are planning to get rid of the strong Naviti members. And Kellen's hesitant to believe Dominic, and I wish she wouldn't be so naive about it, because Kellen says, Desiree and Chelsea have been loyal to her this whole game, but with the title of sole survivor and $1 million on line, anything's possible. Your closest allies can turn on you if it means they get another date in the game. Michael, being on the bottom, he wants to go out and search for an idol to hopefully, keep himself in the game longer. So he and Donovan then go look for an idol. And Michael brought up an interesting point, and I agree with him 100% on this. He said the last thing he wanted was Donovan to go with him, because when people find out that you have an idol in the game, that's like game over. He said, when somebody sees you looking for an idol, that it's the biggest mistake you can make to tell somebody that you share an idol. And I've been saying that this whole season and last season, that I don't get why people just tell people and willy-nilly, hey, I have an idol. It's like, dude, they could tell everybody that you have an idol. Like we saw last season. Donathan actually then finds the idol, and I was so happy for him. And the idol he found was Scott Pollard's idol from Survivor Kaôh Rōng. And man, I loved that episode, because Scott and Jason were major bullies the whole season, and they were planning to take out Ty with the super idol. But when Scott's name was written down and he was about to go home with the super idol, you could use that after the vote. But Ty decided to go stand up for himself, and he decided not to play his idol for Scott. So Donathan found the idol, but it's only half of it. He needs to find Ty's other half of the idol, and the other half of the idol is hidden underneath the center of camp. So basically the idol won't work unless he can find Ty's idol. So he's trying to find it at camp there, and when production hides it in the camp there, I gotta give people credit for when they find it there and nobody sees them. So Donovan, Laurel thankfully comes around, and them two are pretty close. So Laurel tries to help him out, but then Donovan tells Jenna and Michael that he's trying to find an idol, that there's an idol under there. So Jenna tries to distract Dominic and everyone, but it basically, goes to what Michael just said. It's a stupid thing to say that you have an idol, or let other people know that you're looking for one, And Donathan does find the idol, so he can use Scott's idol, and hopefully in a future game, and hopefully he can reverse the curse. At the immunity challenge, they had to balance a ball on this disc and with 2 ropes, and through different intervals they'll be moving back further, making it difficult to balance. And it came down between Chelsea and Sebastian. It ended up being Chelsea that won the immunity challenge, so congratulations to Chelsea on the immunity win. I definitely got to say that must have been the quickest Survivor immunity challenge ever, because within the first, 2 or 5 minutes or so, they lost 7 out of the 11 people, so yeah. And Dominic is thinking that there's going to be a GOAT alliance that's going to try to get them out, and I wouldn't say they're all GOATs. I wouldn't call Kellen a GOAT. She's been playing a pretty good game so far. Not as good as, some other people, but, she's playing a good game. Back at camp, Desiree wants Kellen out, and Desiree is, let me read my notes here, is sitting at the fire with Kellen, and basically says what I said before, that if she goes to the end with Kellen, Kellen's gonna win, and yeah, I don't think that's true at all. Kellen tells Desiree and Chelsea that Dominic said that they're coming after her, and Desiree's like basically blew up at that point, was like, that's not what happened, and she's trying to turn it back on Laurel, saying that this is all Laurel's fault. Desiree says that Laurel is making this up to stay in the game, and she tells everybody around camp, and when Wendell's walking by, then she suddenly changes her story. Then when Laurel's talking to Dominic about what's going on, Desiree just interrupts their conversation, is just like all up in their faces and everything, and is saying that that's not what happened. I never said that to anyone. It's like, dude, there's like 5 to 6 other people that heard you say it. I mean, you got caught in a lie. Own up to it. And she's still, it's amazing. She got caught in a lie, and yet she's still trying to stir the pot. And Dominic, at that point, after seeing how Desiree reacted, is willing to get the strong people together and work with Michael. So Michael's in a pretty good position right now after Desiree's blow up. Jenna also confirms the story to Kellen, but Kellen still refuses to believe them. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? You know, I'm like, come on, you cannot be this naive. Every single person out there is telling you that Desiree is lying, that she wants to get rid of you, Dominic and Wendell. Like, why wouldn't you be more concerned about that? And why wouldn't you trust your alliance? And Dominic then, before tribal council, asked Kellen if she believes Laurel or Desiree, because Dominic wants to know where Kellen is at this point, and Kellen is still adamant about getting rid of Michael, saying that, you know, her and the other girls have been loyal to them and have voted with them this whole time, and she wants them to vote Michael out this time. At tribal council, it blows up again. Laurel says basically, you know, because that Desiree was caught in a lie because, you know, she's backed up against the wall now. So, that's what she's lying about, it, that she's on the bottom. And Desiree still says, I never said that. But all the Malolos, Michael, Jenna, Donathan, Laurel, all say that she said this, and Kellen still refuses to believe her, and Dominic, you know, wants to believe his alliance, but he's second guessing himself, and Wendell also said it too. He's second guessing himself with this whole new information going on, and I didn't necessarily like the fact that Kellen referred to herself as Helen Keller. I thought that was a bit offensive at first, but then I thought, is she calling herself that because she's not, like, listening to what's going on and not seeing what's going on, like, kind of blind to what's going on around her? Because that would be true. Kellen is, I think she's in denial about what's going on, because she has been loyal. She has been with Chelsea and Desiree since day one, so to have somebody in her alliance betray her like that, I could definitely see why she would be in denial, but the truth's all around there. I mean, sure, Malolo's been on the bottom this whole time, but, you know, when your game's threatened like that, you have to come into question, like, would she have said that? And you have to, you know, then, you know what I mean. So, I thought for a minute, you know, if they believed Desiree and Michael was sent home, I thought Donathan might play his idol for Michael. He didn't play his idol, and turns out he didn't need to, because they didn't believe Desiree, and Desiree got sent home. I definitely think they made the right decision. I never would have pegged Desiree as the pot stirrer or liar this season, but she lied to everyone's face. She told wanted to align with the Malolos and told them that she wanted to get rid of Kellen, Dominic, and Wendell. And then she tried to turn it around on Laurel and say that it was all her fault. She's the one that's doing all this. I never said anything like that. Laurel's the one that's messing with your head. And she still lied about a tribal council, even though, who was Michael, Jenna, Donathan, and Laurel. And there's one more. Is there one more Laurel, though? I'm not sure. But yeah, like about 4 to 5 people came out and said that Desiree said this. So she still is going to lie about it. I mean, own up to it. So yeah, I definitely think they made the right decision getting Desiree out. Next week's episode shows that it looks like there's going to be some more pot stirring, because at one point Jenna calls Donathan an idiot. I'm wondering why that happens. And I guess there's talk around camp about Michael potentially having an idol and they're not believing it. And the one person doesn't believe it, and Michael is apparently, it's implying that he's trying to make a fake idol to hopefully, keep himself in the game longer. So we'll have to wait and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Survivor. If you guys want to check out Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Oh, and apparently next week there'll be 2 people voted off. So I'm not sure if 2 people are just going to be voted out in one episode, or if it's going to be a 2-hour episode. So we'll have to wait and see. Until next time, stay regal.